Live from the Toast Studios in New York City, it's the Hospitality Hangout Podcast with the restaurant guy and the finance guy. And without further ado, Jimmy, the finance guy.
I'll take it. Finance guy. Yes, I am. Listen, I want to welcome you. We'll say more formal to the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders of Brand Hospitality Group share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Shatsy Mensch, Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the finance guy. I'm going to pass it back to my boy Shatsy, our restaurant guy.
And thank you for that kind introduction. And to all you listening, you call me Shatsy. And we are the voices behind branded hospitality ventures. We are at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, robotics, automation, restaurants, food, beverage, chicken sandwiches, eggs, and breakfast, and anything else you can add in there, Jimbo, we do it. But Jimmy, it's a very special day today. Yeah. Well, yesterday was really special, but today's even more special.
I love it. What's more special?
Well, I got to tell you, normally we kick off the show and, we talk about Boom, which is fabulous. Great marketplace, right?
Yes.
But today I got to talk to you about something else. It's really on my mind. It's about point of sale systems, Jim.
The POS.
The POS, as you like to say.
The heart of the restaurant.
The heart, the brains, whatever you want. I got to tell you, we switched all of our restaurants over. Yeah, Jimmy, you said that I said I would never change point of sale.
To be clear, you said you would never change your POS. And I laughed and said, oh my God, you're literally violating the rule of never saying never. And then you never changed. Oh, wait.
And I got to tell you, I did make a change. And you know what? We changed every one of our restaurants to Toast. Toast point of sale. 17 restaurants, ripped it out, all the different systems we had, and we went to Toast. And I got to tell you, we really love it. We love it. For our restaurants, they're all single units, fine dine here in New York City. And I got to tell you, we love it. We love that we got handhelds. We love that we have marketing. We have email marketing. We have customer engagement. It's super easy to use. If you ask any of our staff, do they like Toast? They're all going to say, yes, we love Toast.
Not common in the world.
Now, I'm not going to badmouth any other point of sale systems, but the systems that we did have in the past, if you ask my staff, now granted, those systems were 1967. They were from 1967. We had it for 55 years. But if you ask them, did they like it? They would say no. But today they love Toast. And you know what? We're big fans. And I got to tell you, I watch the stock. Have you seen the stock at all?
I've seen the stock.
Well, I know what the stock's doing.
Okay, good.
But I got to tell you,
yes.
I saw how many restaurants they have on the platform.
Yes.
It's like 700 billion restaurants or something like that.
Read the numbers.
Right? Did you see the filing?
Yeah, I did see the filing.
Like fourth quarter earnings. And it said 7 billion or something.
Now,
am I off?
Number.
It wasn't. Oh. Well, I know that they've got Papa Gino's, they got Velvet Taco, Bar Louie, Waba Grill, Isabel's Osteria. That's one of ours. That's one of ours. Monterey. That's one of Brasserie. That's one of ours. Anyway, Jimbo, we're loving Toast. So I just wanted to give a shout out to how much we as a restaurant operator love what they're doing, because they're really making things easy for operators so we can focus on stuff that matters, like people having a good time.
Yes. I like that. So to be clear, are you done? Are you done on this for a moment?
I'm done. That was my Toast plug.
Okay. No, I want to actually then acknowledge.
You want to plug Toast too?
I want to acknowledge that.
I only promised him 30 seconds.
I owe our friends $1 because I was betting that you were going to kind of take credit for their ability to go and IPO after we moved our 17 restaurants.
That was my idea.
And they said no. Shatsy will never be so audacious as to take credit for the IPO because he moved 17 freaking restaurants. But then you didn't say it. And I owe $1 to our friends at Toast. But no, in all sincerity.
Well, they weren't going to do an IPO until it was when I said that we would move our restaurants that they said, what are your thoughts on IPO? And then I said, I thought it was a good idea.
I just want $1.
Anyway, Jimbo, we got a great guest, and I think we should get into it because I feel like he's going to leave in about 10 minutes.
No, he's actually he just texted his
marketing person. Why am I here?
Why? Listen, in all seriousness, we are really excited about today's episode because joining us today is our friend, Mr. Ricky Richardson, the CEO of the Eggs Up Grill. We're going to have a really good time. Anything you want to add? You want me to jump right in?
No, jump right in, man.
I promise we are going to bring Mr. Richardson into the show. But before we do, long-term listeners of the podcast know that we love doing Trivia Tuesday, not to be confused with Taco Tuesday, which is now free for everyone to use. But I'm going to give you 3 factoids about our friend Ricky. As you guys know, 2 of them are true, them less true, also known as false or a lie. But here we go. Fact 1, Ricky spent his entire career in the restaurant industry. Fact 2, Ricky participated in the Oslo Marathon. Oslo Marathon. Fact 3, Ricky's first job at Eggs Up Grill was a busboy. All right. Fact 1, entire career in the restaurant industry. Fact 2, the Oslo Marathon.
Well, you know, I'm always really good at
You're
this,
really
right?
good at this game.
I mean, I can believe, Ricky, his whole life in the restaurant industry, sure, why not? The Oslo Marathon, it just sounds so weird. Like, why Oslo? Like, what's going on? What's Ricky got to do with Oslo? I mean, is he from wherever Oslo is? Where is Oslo?
I thought that was so random. I think that's true.
Oslo's in the north. That's like a Netherlands kind of thing. Or is it Norway? What's in Oslo?
I thought there's no geometry on this. Wait, or is it geography?
Yeah, but Oslo is...
That's geometry. So,
that's what I was like. And then his first job was at... There's no way his first job... But I can't say that. Maybe it was it for... We have so many CEOs first job.
First job in the restaurant industry, busboy. And how many CEOs have we met? First job?
Last week in Boston, it was like 6 out of 6.
Dishwasher. First job on the floor. I got to tell you, I think Oslo and the busboy could have... I think Ricky may have stepped away from the industry.
All right.
All right. Well, you know what?
So let's go away. Let's wait.
You know what? We don't have to keep guessing. You have to wait to the end of the episode. Now we're going to tell you which are the 2 truths. And thank you, my cousin Vinny, and which ones I listened to. All right. So listen, Ricky, you've been patient. We appreciate you. We want to make sure your marketing person doesn't get in any more trouble. I'd like to bring you in, my friend. Please introduce yourself and, of course, your awesome company.
Jimmy and Chelsea, thanks a lot for the opportunity. Enjoy your podcast. Always very entertaining.
Don't say it's a pleasure. Good night.
Long time.
That's one of the false statements. So I started in the restaurant business back in college in the cafeteria, busboy and dishwasher there. And after college, I joined a small home style cooking concept. But the day before I joined that concept as a fry cook, my brother graciously hired me at minimum wage, let me work 70 hours a week. But the day before I did that, I had a great friend from college. Dan owned 5 car dealerships in Dallas. Said, you need to come sell cars with me. I said, that sounds fantastic. You guys live in a really big house. So I said, this is my ticket. I went there for one day, got a big video cassette on how to sell cars, went home and watched it for 3 hours, tossed it in the trash, became a fry cook the next day, and have never left the restaurant business.
I love it. It's fantastic. It's a great story. And we hear so many great stories of current CEOs, C-level folks of the restaurant and hotel space that all got their start really at the ground floor for us, whether it be busboy, dishwasher. I mean, Jimmy, you still can bartend better than anybody I know. Bartender, of course. Oh, but you know what? Ricky, before we get into everything happened at Eggs Up Grill, I want to dive into really you and really find out, how did Ricky Richardson become the CEO? Like, what was your pathway to all those listeners that are the hundreds of millions of listeners that we have? So it's the 1980s and you're at Baylor University, MBA, going to the MBA at Baylor University. And he's thinking, I love Dallas. What should I be doing? After I get my MBA, what should I be doing? And you dove right into working in restaurants, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't remember the first one, but I know it was like, it wasn't TGI's, but everything. And where'd you start? What's the first one? Don't tell me. Let me guess. It was a Brinker. It was a Brinker International.
It was down the street from Brinker for the first Chili's. The Black Eyed Pea restaurant.
I knew it. You see, I knew it. Okay, so you start working there and you're loving it. And you said, I spent all this time and money getting my MBA, but now I'm a waiter. Well, I'm a waiter. Does this make sense? Your parents are angry. Your parents are mad. They spent a lot of money. They're paying all these the tuition, and they're mad. And then you go and you say, Dad, Mom, I know what I'm going to do. Don't be mad. I'm going to TGI's. And they were furious. They're like, what do you mean? I thought you were going to go become a banker. A banker's what you're going to be. No. TGI's is what I want. And you went to TGI's, and there you proved to them that, you know what, banking wasn't for you, because you became the president of TGI's, the fastest president ever. Within 6 months of starting as a waiter, you became the president of TGI's, And that's where you are right now.
Listen to Shatsy. I'm watching Ricky and I'm trying to figure out every time Ricky laughs, I imagine Shatsy kind of got off the rails. But you know what? We're about to find out.
No, that's almost 100% the truth. And now, so president in 6 months, fastest president ever. That you can look it up on Google that. And now CEO of exit. I'm sure
there were about 20 years in there, in addition to those 6 months. But,
details. Who cares for details? Let's say details.
You know, the Black Eyed Peas was a highly entrepreneurial organization at that time. Worked for two fantastic icons, I believe icons in the industry, Jane Street and Phil Cobb. And I've got to see the side of the business. It was exciting. It was the people. It was the energy. It was the immediate satisfaction of a guest well served, the shift well run, financially successful week, month. And it was in my blood. And it was something that I knew I enjoyed. And over time became really, really good at it. I spent 15 years with the Black Eyed Peas. I was part of a franchise group for 2 years, went to go find what I say fame and fortune as a franchisee of the Black Eyed Peas. I lost both in 2 years.
We had fame, just maybe not the fortune.
And that's where I was fortunate to join TGI Fridays. Operator by background, but blessed my 2 decades at Fridays to do the operational side, do a lot of general management. I spent 7 years on our international business. The brand had locations in 50 different countries at that time. So phenomenal experience from a cultural standpoint, as well as a business standpoint.
When you started TG
internationally, they had just under 180, I think, about 160. I think they're north of 450.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, maybe 500. Unfortunately, the U.S. has gone a bit in the different direction in that time period. But I left them in 2016 after running the U.S. business, president running the U.S. business for about 3.5 years. And I had the privilege of taking a little bit of time off. I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity for about 18 months on a construction crew. My wife, as I joke, my wife said, you're much too young to go back to work, which is code for the fact that the bank account's much too small. So
I thought she was just tired of having you around the house. I thought it was code word like, you got to get at it. You cramp them.
It's probably the same thing as well, because I had traveled extensively in the decades after that. I had what I thought was a pretty impressive toolbox, but when you work in a really big brand like TGI Fridays, it's hard to know how much of the impact was really driven by yourself and how much of it was just momentum. So I wanted to go prove to myself that that toolbox that I thought I had was really effective. So I knew I wanted something small. I knew I wanted something that had a growth trajectory in front of it. We all know how much fun growth is and the satisfaction you get out of that. And I was fortunate enough to get connected with a private investment firm based here in South Carolina, WJ Partners. It's my 3rd stint with private equity, and these are uniquely qualified and uniquely supportive investors in the business. When I took it over, there were 24 restaurants, founder-led at that time. We just opened our 73rd restaurant a couple of weeks ago. We'll do another 25 this year.
I got to see. Can I look at your toolbox? What kind of toolbox you got? He's got like a Black & Decker, his big ones, like you see on the construction site. You must.
Well, I've got a team that's got a hell of a toolbox.
Is that okay? All right. Give it all the credit to the team. I love it.
Yeah, that great work. And franchise partners. We're 100% franchise system. And, we fascinate on being a best-in-class franchisor. So
Jimbo loves a toolbox. Nobody has a toolbox like Jimmy. Jimmy says toolbox a lot. And what's the quivers? You're always throwing arrows. He's always doing arrows.
This is my quiver. And while I'll admit I'm not a golfer, Chef will attest to that, I do understand that I've never seen a professional golfer approach around a club. A club's in the bag, arrows, quiver. And I do like...
Do you think if you played golf with all your clubs, I think 13 is the number you're allowed to have, and Tiger only had 1 club, a putter, you think he'd beat you?
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
He beat you with a putter. Listen, Rick, my producer, our producer, I should say, we love breaking news on the podcast. And usually Shatsy gets to break the news. I had the privilege of kicking things off with some unbreaking news, because this is not, let's say, a new announcement, but it is new for our podcast. So it's the first time we're talking about it. So in the category of unbreaking news, Eggs Up Grill will be making its expansion outside of the Southeast. First time with its first deal in Columbus, Ohio. So
oh, yeah.
You've had great growth. You've got a pipeline ahead of you, but Columbus, Ohio is, as I understand it, is the first breakout from the Southeast, and would just love if you to share more exciting, share this, maybe some more color around this exciting expansion and the direction.
Now, why Columbus? That's what I want to know. Like, why from the South to Columbus?
Absolutely. We're blessed to have a franchise partner there that joined us recently. He's a long time in the industry, been very successful as franchisees of another concept. Ran across Eggs Up Grill, enjoyed it as a guest, and wanted to bring that to Columbus, Ohio. So excited to get to the Midwest with Paul Bell and his team. We should be opening later this year, the first one in that market. Texas has been a rapidly expanding market for us as well. I'm expanding the definition of the Southeast with each one of these moves. We're open in Dallas, under construction, about to be under construction in Houston. We'll be opening in Austin later this year. So
Nice.
we focused short term after the acquisition and coming on board to make sure we stayed in our backyard, where we had a great reputation, where we could keep our hands around the business, but we feel like we've proven our capabilities and the brand's ability to travel. So really, really excited about continued expansion, and look out for further announcements of Midwest expansion soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love it. We love brands that have a great story, a backstory, that history and generational history. I think Eggs Up Grill checks that box. Let's talk a little about the multi-generational history of Eggs Up Grill. Tell us a little about the story, where it started. I mean, I think it's Myrtle Beach, if my notes are correct, right? So you're Myrtle Beach with a single unit. And like you said, I mean, you took over with 24. So they grow from one unit. How'd they get to 24? And then, of course, they get you. And obviously, with this toolbox of yours, I mean, you bring it to 75. And I don't know, you said you got like another 250 in the pipeline in the next 2 weeks or something like that.
25 in the next 12 months, but you were close.
Yeah, well, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah,
I said.
10x, that works. 10X.
Jimmy's so detail-oriented when it comes to numbers. That's why he's the...
Chris Scotus is the founder of the brand and still a minority investor. Chris is a third-generation diner family out of Rhode Island. He and his wife were looking for a life change back in 1996, picked up and moved to the Myrtle Beach area. And he did all he knew what to do, which was
play golf. That's what you do in Myrtle.
No, he knew restaurants, and he knew diners, but he didn't want the hours of a traditional diner. So he took a closed down, a little old Chinese restaurant, closed down there in Myrtle Beach, converted it to the first Eggs Up Grill. Chris also was involved in a Bible study. A couple of his friends in that Bible study were McDonald's franchisees, introduced him to the concept of franchising. And he started doing some friends and family franchising.
Sure.
Well, then, as I said, the investment group acquired the majority interest in 2018. Chris is now a franchisee as well as a minority investor in the business. He's got
awesome.
2 of his own locations with some partners.
Well, that's the best way to sell franchise, is to know the founder is a franchise operator now. He's actually loves it so much, right?
Nobody knows the ins and outs of it better than that, right?
Yeah, So I mean, I think it's a great selling story that, who your franchise. Well, actually, the guy who founded the place actually has 2 or 3 stores.
Absolutely. Very supportive.
Testimonial. Look, today is clearly my lucky day. Because Shancy almost always get the breaking news. I got the unbreaking news. Actually, you like apple, Shancy?
I love apples, Jimmy.
I'm going to do some breaking news. I love them apples.
I love those apples.
I do get to break some news. Eggs Up, okay, in addition to the store growth and the expansion, has also just launched its own proprietary, I think that's redundant, it's proprietary digital training platform for all your franchisees. And on the podcast, we talk a lot about build strategies versus buy strategies, and it's usually a combination of the two. But clearly, Ricky, your team has decided this was a build moment when it comes to digital training. And can you share a little bit more about the program? And also, why is it important for your company to have this be part of your DNA to roll out this digital training program to your employees?
Yeah, I'll start with your second question first.
Thank you.
Why is it so important?
Yep.
Yeah, brands that connect with guests on an emotional level have a real clear differentiation advantage when they can consistently do that. And that was one of the things that was highly impactful for me when I was doing my diligence on Eggs Up Grill, is the consistency of the friendliness, the breadth of the consumer that was in the restaurant. Our brand promises, let me make you smile, and seeing that restaurant after restaurant, regardless of what the ownership was. And when it's in your backyard, it's really easy to stay close to that, working hand in hand with franchise partners. But as our expansion has exploded as quickly as it has, ensuring that every new team member understands what the brand promise is, what the role is, reinforcing that with our franchise partners is critically important. We hire for personality. Obviously, you've got to train skill sets. So the consistency and ability to track training compliance and performance is really important. It's one of the key elements of this platform as well. We deliver our recipes, we deliver training videos, we deliver marketing communications through this platform as well. It is a blended approach. We developed all the content ourselves, wrote all the content ourselves, the format and the structure and the details behind that. We're riding on top of the Player Link system. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Player Link or not, but we are using that as the base platform. We just introduced it this mid-January to our owners conference, and it's been wildly accepted with a lot of energy and a lot of excitement behind it, but we're just starting to scratch the surface with that.
If there's one constant in the restaurant industry, it's change. Whether you're a growing brand trying to build cutting-edge experiences for your guests or a national leader with thousands and thousands of stores looking to update your tech stack, well, Toast brings together proven technology, expertise, and innovations you need to drive change and spark growth. That's right, drive change and spark growth. From front of house to back of the house and everything in between, corporate teams, franchisees, enterprise brands, mom pops, SMBs, you name it, everyone is loving Toast. With over 100,000 operators using Toast, you know it's the best POS out there. And many more trust Toast to help them stay ahead of the curve and thrive in this changing restaurant world that we love. To learn more about Toast, go to toasttab.com. That's toasttab.com. And I got to tell you, you're going to love it. Mention Shatsy, and I think they're going to give you some crazy discount. That's fantastic. I mean, listen, training is really the heart. Yeah, I think a lot of times folks in the restaurant space in particular are real guilty about this, but I'm sure in other industries, we hire someone and then we say, how's Jerry doing? Oh, he just finished his training. He's here a week and he does his, maybe the breakfast shift, the dinner shift, the lunch shift, maybe he does an expo. Yeah, he maybe does prep, he does his stuff, and it's 5 days. Oh, yeah, Jimmy's going on schedule next week. He's done with his training. And I love to say he's done with his training. Because to me, training is never done. I mean, I don't know a lot about other industries, but certainly in the restaurant industry, it's never done. You're always learning, you're always teaching, you're always training. Things are always changing. Menus are changing. It's just tech has changed, so it's never done. But keep it on tech. I got to tell you, we always joke about how slow restaurants or hospitality was to embrace technology. We always kid around that when I first started, outside a dishwasher, which was really cool technology. That was really cool. Yeah, there were lights on it, that green light, red light, there were things. It was water sprouting around, handles. It was really cool. Dishwasher, conveyor belt, very cool. It was really a point of sale. That's all you had. And maybe the machine that you poured Coke out of, or Pepsi, the soda dispenser. I don't want to pick any sides there, So, you push that. That was really fun. But really, it was really slow. So point of sale was all we had. So, when you started at Eggs Up Grill, you had multiple point of sale systems, kind of like what I was talking about earlier with our restaurants. I think we had 17 or 15 restaurants at the time, and we have 5 different point of sale systems. And it was really hard because you couldn't even move people around because the systems are so different. They couldn't train. They didn't talk to each other. It was just and when you came to Eggs Up Grill, you had 3 different point of sale systems. What was your approach to changing that and then deciding on where you wanted to change to?
Yeah. The first off, we knew we were committed to growth. And so we knew that we had a lot of runway in front of us. So we had the chance to make some significant foundational changes to the business and make sure we make the right selections at that time. POS is one example of many of those decisions. I organized a group of franchise partners. We interviewed, probably a half dozen different POS groups. We as the brand, as franchisor, obviously took a lead on some of the final decision-making, but I wanted to bring franchisees along. We were impressed with Toast because it fit our ownership profile. Small business owners.
It's another Toast guy here.
Yeah.
The crowd loves that. They love it. The crowd's going crazy.
And absolutely. We selected Toast in the fall of 2018, had 24 restaurants on a different platform at that time, but we have everyone on Toast now. We didn't force those 24 to convert. What the recommendations they heard from other franchise partners, capabilities of Toast created a pull versus a push. And so we now have Toast across our entire system.
That is awesome. I got to tell you, that was a plug and we didn't even,
You know what? A fortunate coincidence or just a coincidence? I don't know.
No, but that segment was sponsored by Toast.
By the way, this is an appropriate time to remind Chatsy that he said he would never change his BOS.
Yeah, no, listen.
Favorite changes. Listen, we've been really fortunate over the last few years to continue to have industry leaders and really trailblazers. And that very much includes you, some of the great work you're doing, who come on the podcast and share their insights and some of the lessons that they've learned. I really feel very fortunate how many listeners, particularly operators, have said that they picked up tidbits or lessons along the way. I'm not creating a new segment here, but I almost feel like I'd love to know, make an untold story, something that, doesn't maybe make the headlines, but maybe it could still be a tidbit for other operators to learn from. So I'm going to invite you to officially self-proclaimed new segment here of what's an untold story behind the scenes you might be willing to share with our listeners, of which so many are operators in this space.
Wow. That's bold. I hope he's prepared for something like that.
One of the things that really sticks out for me in my international experience, besides my Oslo experience, is, we all have the year-end push, right? You committed to open a certain number of restaurants. Yeah. Obviously, even as a franchisor, we had that same push internationally. And I was in one of our countries in South Asia, and it was the end of the year, and they weren't fully permitted, didn't have full utilities, specifically water in place for the location. But we noticed along with the franchise partner that the next door retail space had water. So you go and you get a water hose, a really, really long water hose.
Yeah, imagine so.
Plug it into the back of that tenant, pay them a little bit of money and string it over to the TGI Fridays. I get the appropriate water into the restaurant from a food safety standpoint and get rolling. So,
and you had water.
And we had water. Probably not something I would have pursued in the States, but it was certainly appropriate in that environment.
I feel like I did that with cable, with the Ref TV or cable.
Ricky just told your first cable story.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the cable bill? I'll get a splicer.
Yeah. Give me 200 yards of 075 cable, and I'll run it to my neighbor's house. From my neighbor's house to my house.
The difference here is that Ricky actually went neighborly and asked, and Corey worked on a deal. You just freaking put the guy's wire and took took some of his cable.
Well, if I would have asked, I would have said no. So
this is also Shatsy's home Wi-Fi story. This is great.
Yeah, I love it. All
right, actually, Ricky, thank you so much. And I got to tell you, Shatsy, the untold story might be something we keep going.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, that means he's definitely. All right, listen, I want to shift gears and bring in one of my favorite sections because it reminds me of hope. No, clearly Shatsy and I love to chat and we have the gift of gab, or maybe just gab, no gift. But we learned along the way that sometimes our guest has a question or two for us. So without further ado, Ricky, we'll pass you the mic. You're going to please feel free to ask us the question. As I like to say, nothing is off the table. Ricky, the microphone is yours.
Thanks, guys. I put some thought into this, and I wanted to 17 restaurants, multiple different concepts. You both have very dynamic, strong personalities. Do you define a culture for each individual restaurant, or do you have a perspective that as owners and as close as you are to those businesses, there's common threads around your team members, around the culture that you all try to reinforce for success there? I told you earlier how important that is, I believe, to me and the DNA of our brand and our success. Curious to your take on that.
Yeah, no,
that's the question.
I mean, it's a great question. I mean, for us, we are a multi-unit restaurant group here in New York City, but we are, for the most part, single brand. So it's fine dining, full service, multi-unit, but individual brands, chef-driven concepts, chef-driven name too. So we are very cognizant of our success has been built around, like we talked earlier about buy-in. So we need the GM and the chef to buy in, and we make our chef and GM partners in our restaurants. That's the first thing we do. And we feel that when we can get ownership from the chef and the GM, when they take ownership and are various different ways of granting equity or warrants, this or that, the other thing. But the bottom line is they become equity owners and they really take ownership of the P&L. And then they really take ownership of the schedule and the front of the house and the back of that. And they really take pride because every dollar that's made, they now get a piece of that. And I think that's really important. I know other groups have done that around the country in a big way. So we kind of took that from some of these big groups that do things like that and brought it to our small group. And we found that to be incredibly successful to create a culture of winning. But we still, when you walk into one of our restaurants, you feel that that restaurant is owned by the chef and the GM. It's almost mom pop. You don't feel like you're part of a group. You feel like they own that restaurant. And that's kind of like what's been successful for us.
There's a lot of similarities, I think, to how we vision our business. We've got local ownership, right? It's 100% franchise. So if we do our work, as we select those franchise partners, understand what makes Eggs Up Grill successful, what their role is from the guest experience, the team experience, we have that same financial motivation at play for us as well. Run this brand right, do the things that we help teach you and help support you with tools and other ways to make that more effective, and you'll be really, really successful. So a lot of the difference being that guests in our context get the certainty of a brand name hanging above the door, but they also have that personalization and engagement with that local ownership, community involvement. And it plays well for us on both levels.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Ricky, that was talking back. I think you were supposed to ask me and Jimmy a question, and you weren't supposed to talk back. No, I'm just saying. I mean, I just wanted to say, I thought Jimmy was supposed to answer. I was like, Ricky starts going off on the.
I thought that was a thoughtful question. Chatsy, I like your answer. I really think that was the restaurant guy's question. And I think I liked the banter that went back and forth between the two of you. The only thing I will say, and I'm going to stay in my lane with respect to being the finance guy, but I will say, I do find it interesting when you go to various restaurants, including ones that have the same name and experience, if you can get a sense that you're really in that joint, and there's the culture that you experience from one to the other, that is really hard to do. And it's amazing when it's done well.
And do it at scale.
So kudos to you. It's really hard. So Shatz, I hear you doing your family Feud music. I know what.
Don't you hear that?
I hear.
That's like the Oscars. That's a Feud.
Shut that up.
No. I just we've got time. Right. Ricky's got restaurants. We've got 25 restaurants in 2 weeks ago. Yes. He's all day with us. Got a lot of work to do. All right, listen, we're going to jump into the food service Feud, Tuesday Trivia Edition. As you know, Jimmy, we go on LinkedIn every Tuesday and we ask over 100,000 people a question, and we take their responses and we take the top 4 answers on the board. Ricky Richardson, are you ready to play the food service Feud against our own finance guy, Jimmy?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm very excited. Well, listen. And by the way, I just want to let you guys know, Toast just released their Q3 Restaurant Trends Report, which is full of fun food trivia. So for this food service Feud today, can you guess the correct answer? Are you ready? Okay. Yep. Which state, and I'm going to give you the answers to pick from, then you can pick which is the number one. Which state has the most excellent, you see what I did there, Jimmy? Excellent relationship with protein, with a whopping 10% of all food orders containing some type of egg. So which state has the most excellent relationship? Is it Texas, New Hampshire, Michigan, or Ohio? Now you can ring your buzzer. Now you can ring your buzzer. Sorry.
I'll do it, Ricky.
Oh, Ricky, take your guess. Take your guess.
I'm going to have to stick with my home state of Texas.
I'm sorry, that is not correct. Jimmy, you can steal and win fabulous prizes.
The reason why I paused to let Ricky answer was I was going to guess the same thing.
You would have been wrong.
I'm going with just bigger. But since Ricky guessed it.
I can't believe this. If I didn't have the answer, I never would have guessed.
All right. Well, holy yes. Now you're directing me, so I can't believe it. I'm going New Hampshire. That's what.
Ding, ding, ding. The winner is New Hampshire. I'm going to tell you, I think Egg Up Grill will now have a New Hampshire egg sandwich.
That would have been respectfully given just size and girth. It was going to, but clearly they like their egg.
Listen, Jimbo, I know that you love to eat up fun industry facts as much as we do. You should check out the newly released Toast Restaurant Trends Report. You can download the full report for fun facts at toast.com and click the newsroom tab, and we'll also link you to show notes. But yes, it is New Hampshire. I have nothing more to say about that. Usually, if I get a little note as to why New Hampshire, Julie left it all out, so I have no fun facts.
That's all right. Listen, how much does that Toast report cost?
It's free, Jimmy. Go to toast.com.
Toast.com, it's free?
Yeah, or toasttab.com.
Right. The only thing I want to add on this, and then we are going to move forward with going to our Trivia Tuesday. I want to add one comment. And I don't know if Ricky has a comment on what I'm about to. I've got this shit my own.
Is it about eggs?
Why is the egg so typically relegated to breakfast? Chicken's not relegated to only dinner and lunch. They get breakfast, steak and eggs. Steak gets this, but you order steak for dinner. And all of a sudden you order, like restaurants will say, breakfast all day. Like somehow the egg being outside of the breakfast, generically or generally seems like was the egg up on the dinner menu. Egg should not be relegated.
I love an omelet. I love an omelet
I love an omelet for lunch. I love an omelet for dinner.
Well, I gotta say, Ricky's an expert on
I
this.
just feel like the eggs, stop disrespecting the egg. The egg could play an
It's the incredible edible egg.
The incredible edible egg.
Ricky.
I don't know if you have any comments on that, but I've been thinking, you know what? I'm sticking up for the egg.
Yeah. Well,
it works well. It works well for us because we close at 2:00 in the afternoon. So as long as people keep eating it for breakfast and lunch, we're in good shape.
After, if people don't want eggs after 2, that's okay by you. But I will say, like I said, I made their way on top of burgers now. You're seeing eggs on burgers.
Delicious.
I mean, the French are putting eggs on the croque monsieur, the croque madame. Is that one of them gets an egg, right? The madame gets an egg. Yeah, I mean, so eggs are making them wet. And I got to tell you, a lot of bistros I notice, they do omelets at lunch. I love an omelet at lunch. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
It's great on pasta as well.
Great on yes. Carbonara, the bacon, egg, and cheese pasta.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, listen, at the top of the show, I introduced 3 factoids about our friend Ricky. 2 are true. 1 is false. If you've been listening about the podcast, some tidbits and hints have been given. But just as a quick reminder, fact 1 was Ricky spent his entire career in the restaurant industry. Fact 2, Ricky participated in the Oslo Marathon. Fact 3, Ricky's first job at Eggs Up Grill was as a busboy. Shatsy, you get to play. I think you're going to crush this one.
I know it's really tricky, but I mean, I think he gave us some tells early on when we talked about, how he got here, that whole Baylor thing. So I would say that we know that he wasn't a busboy at the Eggs Up Grill. We know that wasn't his first job because I think he said his first job was at right with the
Claire was his first job at Eggs Up Grill.
Oh,
that was that's Ricky's first job at Eggs Up Grill.
Oh, worse.
Was as it was a busboy.
Okay. Then I'm going to say that, well, we know he spent his entire career in the restaurant industry. I'd say that Oslo Marathon sounds weird. I mean, Ricky, where are you from? Like, where's your heritage? Like, where's from Norway? Boy, give me hints. Have you ever been to Norway?
By the way, that may have been asked and answered. That may have
I think that Oslo Marathon, I think he went to the Eggs Up Grill to see if he liked.
Yes.
And before he got involved, and he just went in like they do that undercover boss thing. And he went in there, got a job. And he's like, yeah, I like this.
You're saying 1 and 3 are true.
Yeah. He didn't run a marathon.
I'm saying 1 is true. Entire career, the rest
got no time for that. He's opening a restaurant.
He ran the Oslo Marathon, and I'm saying Ricky's first job in the industry was as a busboy. Wasn't at Eggs Up Grill.
All right.
His first job.
All right,
Ricky, it's yours. So yours to tell us.
Jimmy, you are correct there. I spent my first weekend at Eggs Up bussing tables, but it wasn't my first job. I had spent that first weekend there talking to guests, understanding the franchisees.
But did you bus anything on that first day there? Did you move anything off the table into the dish area?
Everyone
yes. I'm right there. I'm right. Yes. Then, and maybe he wasn't officially a busboy, but he was doing busing stuff.
I feel like it's one of those commercials. We have to after the slide, we go to the videotape. I believe what Ricky said was, Jimmy, you are correct. But somehow we're both correct. We're both correct. That's okay.
Because I feel like if he moved something off the table, he was doing busing stuff. Anyway, I got to tell you, Jimmy, you got it right. You never get it right. But listen, we're going to have to go right now to the branded quickfire because we got a lot of work to do here. All right. Are you ready? Here we go. So I'm going to ask you 5 lightning round questions, Ricky. All right. First one that comes to your mind, you answer. Don't think too hard, okay? Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Where are you getting dinner from tonight, sir?
Dudley's, local restaurant.
I just named it. I like the name. I think if I had a dog right now, I'd name him Dudley. And if I were to have another kid, maybe Dudley. Dudley Schatz. No, I like Dudley. What's your favorite food city in the world?
Dallas, my hometown.
Where's your favorite place to travel? Don't say Oslo.
My family loves the beach, so we spend a lot of time in Cabo.
Cabo. Is it fact that Eggs Up Grill is opening in Cabo next?
Not yet.
Not yet. But it is on the radar. It is on the radar so you can spend more time there.
It's on my personal radar.
Yeah, it's on the personal radar. He's looking to find a... Hey, listen, anybody looking to open Eggs Up Grill in Cabo, Ricky's got a deal. He's got a 5-unit deal ready. If you want to challenge Jimmy Rye to a game of Buck Hunter, the video game Buck Hunter, that the arcade classic, better odds of beating, who is it? Jimmy Rye gave a Buck Hunter.
I'd say Jimmy a little more precise, maybe, with his financial background.
Yeah, and he spent a lot of time in bars. Jimmy knows that game.
It's true. It's true.
Right?
Yeah. And when I have a few cocktails, I think I'm better at the game.
Are you a hunter, Ricky? Are you a hunter?
I am not.
Why do we even have that question?
Other than at games, arcade games.
Oh, so you're like an arcade. Yeah. Favorite arcade game, is it Buck Hunter?
I've played that many, many times. I enjoy that a lot.
I think
Space Invaders.
I think Rick. That's, by the way, my young daughter just asked me my favorite video game, and I said Space Invaders. And she said, I just told her, I literally said Space Invaders. I said, what's that? I was describing it, and I was doing like the MC Hammer dance.
Space Invaders. It was the best game, man. I got to tell you.
All right, listen, Ricky, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and certainly for putting up with Shats and me and our little banter. We really do appreciate when folks like yourself take time out of your busy schedule to come on our podcast and share some insights and thoughts around this industry that we truly love so much. So thank you. To any of our guests, if you want to get in touch with Ricky directly, especially if you might be thinking of opening an Eggs Up Grill in Cabo, you can reach out to the podcast team. Okay, we're not rookies anymore. We don't give out
cell phone for
give out cell phones anymore. That was a season one. You can email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com. I'll be happy to make the introduction to Ricky. And I can't say enough to our listeners. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in, for continuing to make this part of your podcast. You know, the arsenal. We couldn't continue to do this work without you. And on that basis, we always want
Jimmy, that was so touching. I got a tear in my eye. It was really beautiful. Hey, Ricky, let me ask you something more important. If we want to get in touch with Eggs Up Grill, I want to open up. What? Is it eggsupgrill.com?
That's it.
Eggsupgrill.com. I got to tell you, rocking concept. You ever going to come to New York, you think, or is that in the cards, or you got a lot more work to do?
Yeah, I think we'll be close by New York in the next 12 to 14 months.
I got to tell you,
in New York,
New York was known as a diner town. I mean, like New Jersey, New York diner towns. And unfortunately, there really, as the generation shift, the younger generation, their father or grandfather was at a diner. They don't want to take it over. And a lot of times they own the real estate and they're just going out. The diners are kind of going out. So I think Eggs Up Grill would have a good time here.
Right.
Because Jimmy's looking for eggs, but you'd have to open up the Eggs Up Grill would have to stay up to 7 p.m. here for Jimmy. So he likes to go happy hour. He likes egg happy hour. If you could promise that, you might even get Jimmy to take a 5-unit deal. I got to tell you, Ricky.
I'm open to conversations, Jimmy.
I love it, Ricky. Let you get back to everything. We got you out of here, I think, just on time. Appreciate it, my friend. This was great. Thanks so much. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
If there's one constant in the restaurant industry, it's change. Whether you're a growing brand trying to build cutting-edge experiences for your guests or a national leader with thousands and thousands of stores looking to update your tech stack, well, Toast brings together proven technology, expertise, and innovations you need to drive change and spark growth. That's right. Drive change and spark growth. From front of house to back of the house and everything in between. Corporate teams, franchisees, enterprise brands, mom pops, SMBs, you name it, everyone is loving Toast. With over 100,000 operators using Toast, you know it's the best POS out there. And many more trust Toast to help them stay ahead of the curve and thrive in this changing restaurant world that we love. To learn more about Toast, go to toasttab.com. That's toasttab.com. And I got to tell you, you're going to love it. Mention Shatsy, and I think they're going to give you some crazy discount.